Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, and I've already shown you one new Dragon VMAX, but you know what? I thought it might be fun to show you another. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Duraludon is getting a VMAX. Duraludon VMAX is here. And maybe we get a little bit excited here. I mean, we were told that Duraludon and Rayquaza VMAX were going to be on the same level competitively as Eternatus, and I was pretty glowing, I think that is a bit of an understatement, in my praise of Rayquaza. Can Duraludon stack up? Well, we'll start off with a Pokemon V here. Our translation comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet, and what we got here is 220 HP, which is on the high end for Pokemon V, so that's quite nice. Retreat cost of 2, which gives free retreat with Air Balloon, which is not too bad. And like we see on all of these new Dragon Pokemon, there ain't no weakness. And this is a great thing, because 220 HP, no weakness is good. We're going to go up to a VMAX in a minute. We know it's Dragon. Ergo, we know it's not going to have a weakness. Being able to run around with giant HP Pokemon, knowing that there is literally no chance whatsoever that your opponent is going to be able to just play something to cheekily hit you for weakness, that is, yeah, that's kind of huge, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm honest with you. That is just absolutely huge. And I should mention, you are a single strike Pokemon, so all of those tricks that we might have, like single strike energy to do extra damage, Houndoom to accelerate energy, all those other things to do extra damage, they are all absolutely well and truly on the table. Cool. But what does it actually do? Well, the first attack for 1 fighting, 1 metal energy does 70 damage, and I don't like this attack. But I don't hate it. And again, it all comes down to being a single strike Pokemon. Now remember that you're not being hit for weakness as a Dragon Pokemon, but you're also not hitting anything for weakness, which is obviously a little bit of a downside. But one thing that's really important here is single strike energy and Houndoom. Because now I've got to get a Houndoom out, which either means I've taken a turn to evolve or I've used Mustard, but we all know using Mustard super early in the game can be awkward. But what we've basically got here is you accelerate a single strike energy using Houndoom. That will pay the fighting energy. And then you attach metal energy. And yeah, we're good to go. And you're hitting 90 damage. And 90 damage is enough to get a bunch of evolving support Pokemon. I showed you Flaffy earlier. And I kind of raved about how amazing Flaffy is, 90 HP. And 90 is crucial because 90 is level ball. Level Ball gets any Pokemon with 90 HP or less. So your opponent is going to be incentivized to play Pokemon with 90 HP or less, which just so happens to be what you are hitting here with Duraludon. Oh, look how that worked out. Now, the second attack here, 1 fighting, 2 metal energy, 140 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attacks deal 30 less damage. And I'm going to be totally honest with you here. I don't really care. I don't think this is a reason to play the card. This puts me off, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen. This makes me a little bit sad. Because it's not enough damage. It's awkward in terms of energy. It's just not good enough. 140 is in that awkward in-between place where you'll get most single-prize Pokemon, but you won't even get all the single-prize Pokemon. And you're nowhere near getting Pokemon Vs. I mean, even with all your single strike tricks, you're 80 damage away here. So, if your opponent's taken 3 prizes, and you play Karen's Belief, does 20 more for each prize card your opponent's taken, and you've got a single strike energy on, then you'll get a KO? It's not quite the same though, is it, ladies and gentlemen? And that's kind of my point here. It's too much energy for too little payoff. And of course, because this Duraludon is Dragon, not Metal, you can't even use Metal Saucer to accelerate energy, although hold that thought because we're going to be coming back to that in just a moment. So I don't mind the first attack, I don't like the second attack, but what about the VMAX? The VMAX could be something cool here. Now, obviously, we are going up into a VMAX. We get a nice little bump in stats here, as one might imagine. We go up to 330 HP, which isn't phenomenal, but it is very much on the higher end. It's not as high as we've seen, but it's still high. Retreat cost of 3 is kind of annoying. Sorry about that. But again, you're a dragon Pokemon, so there's no weakness. And I do think we absolutely need to bear in mind here that we're talking about a 330 HP Pokemon that doesn't have a weakness. Generally speaking, when we look at these big Pokemon, if we're trying to find a counter, we look for weakness. People look at Eternatus and they go, well, hang on a second, that new Galarian Zapdos, I can counter Eternatus with Galarian Zapdos, which incidentally is not working in Japan where they're legal as much as one might imagine, but it sits there as absolutely an option. It's not an option here. And this is one thing that every Dragon VMAX is going to be able to really take advantage of. Ridiculous HP, and a guarantee that no one is going to be coming along hitting you for weakness, which is obviously the best and easiest way to counter this. That in and of itself is pretty awesome. But if you want to be more awkward to KO, might I direct you towards the ability here? Now, the ability comes along, it is, quite frankly, rather ridiculous. Skyscraper. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from each of your opponent's Pokemon that has any special energy attached to it. It will completely block any Pokemon with any special energy. And what's amazing here is if your opponent... I mean, there's several ways you can catch your opponent here. They might only be playing special energy, in which case, ha! Or they might not know you're playing Duraludon. And by the time you drop Duraludon, it's a little bit too late. They're already committed. I mean, some of you are going to look at this, and we're at the stage now where these things tend to swing around. E/EX. This is E/EX's ability. Now, that didn't have a particularly good attack. It was a nice little tech. It never really took over the format because it never really had an attack that could stand up. We'll get to the attack in a minute, but this absolutely does have an attack which absolutely could stack up. That's kind of awesome. But also, you know, think about single and rapid strike decks. Single and rapid strike energy are too good. They are too good not to play. You have to play them because they are phenomenal. So do it. Play them. But now in comes Duraludon to hurt you. And the thing is, let's say I'm playing a Rapid Strike deck. I'm going to be playing 4 Rapid Strike energy and a few other energy which match whatever I happen to be playing. Well, the thing is, I can go, well, fine, you're playing Duraludon, I won't use Rapid Strike energy, and that's cool. But that's not how your deck works. Your deck is built around Rapid Strike energy. You are playing Pokemon that you wouldn't be playing were it not for Rapid Strike energy. So even decks that are playing non-special energy, quite frankly, playing special energy is a pain in the neck. It is awkward to search, and you can't really recover it most of the time. It's just a pain. You don't want to be playing special energy. You play it because it's too good not to. And now Duraludon comes in and forces you into playing without it, even though that's a lot of what's in your deck. You see where I'm going with this? Even when you can play around it, it is going to be super awkward to actually play around it. And then there will be those decks that only play special energy. We all know those decks are out there here and there. Those decks don't stand a chance. Those decks are done. Like any deck which is only playing special energy, essentially you get Duraludon out and it's game. Unless they've got some kind of answer. And that's just brilliant here. I did, however, say there was a fairly useful attack here, and there kind of is. 1 fighting, 2 metal energy, 220 damage, not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. And I love this. You see, extra damage for single strike decks isn't an issue. I've already told you about single strike energy. I've already told you about Karen's belief. Doing the extra damage is fine. Especially in the late game where Karen really kicks in. You know, 1 single strike energy and a Karen when your opponent's taken 5 prizes and you're hitting 340, that'll KO anything. But it's the fact that you can go through anything, which is huge here. Your opponent's playing a Zamazenta, trying to block VMAXs. Ha! That's adorable. It basically means that you've got Phoebe. Except rather than having to find Phoebe on the perfect turn, it's just always active. You just get to go through anything, and that's what's so amazing here. Damage-wise, I mean, look, you're already getting a one-hit KO on basically any Pokemon V, and we've got the single-strike tricks to build it up even more. Damage-wise, I'm fine. You're going through anything. You are immune to Pokemon that have got special energy attached, and you've got huge HP, and no weakness. Honestly, the only awkward thing here is the attack cost, because Houndoom will accelerate Single Strike Energy, which will pay the fighting, but Single Strike Energy won't pay the metal, and you need 2 metal on there. And I told you that Duraludon V might be a Single Strike Pokemon, but it's not a metal Pokemon, so you can't play Metal Saucer. Well, great news, ladies and gentlemen, because the Duraludon V that came around in Champion's Path is a metal Pokemon. So use that. And honestly here, and if you think I'm wrong about this in the comment section, let me know. I think the metal Duraludon V from Champion's Path pretty much invalidates the Dragon Duraludon V. Because I don't see the point. Like, Duraludon V, neither of them are particularly good. The VMAX I do think is particularly good. The one big issue with the VMAX is that it's a bit too awkward to accelerate energy to. So now we can Metal Saucer on the V before we VMAX. We can Houndoom onto the VMAX after we VMAX. And between those things, we should be able to pay this attack very easily. And this isn't Aegislash, right? It's Aegislash's ability, but Aegislash came along with a frankly pretty bad attack, 170 HP and a weakness to fire. You could counter that pretty easily. Here we've got the same ability, but gigantic HP, no weakness, and a really good attack. You see, it's not just that you've got to be able to try and take down this extremely difficult to take down Pokemon, but it is also the fact that you are on a clock. Because honestly, right, between Metal Saucer and Houndoom, I expect to be able to be using Duraludon VMAX's attack every single turn from turn 2 onwards. I expect to be able to do that. Not only that, but if a Duraludon goes down, I expect to have another one with the requisite energy ready to go. It is really, between Metal Saucer and Houndoom, really straightforward to get the energy on here. So you've got to take down 2 of them in quick succession. And every turn you don't, I am one-hit KOing a single prize Pokemon, I am one-hit KOing a Pokemon V, and late in the game I can probably even one-hit KO a Pokemon VMAX as well. Oh yeah, and all those Pokemon you've got that might be able to block me, don't block me. It's a 5 Wassy card. I adore this. And the funny thing is, if we didn't have the Metal Duraludon V, I would like this so much less. But we do have the Metal Duraludon V, so it's kind of irrelevant. I think this is fantastic. It is so hard to take down, and it is KOing basically everything Pokemon V and under every turn, and should be attacking from turn 2 onwards. I don't even really care what the Champion's Path Duraludon V does. Incidentally, it's got a nice little ability that reduces damage done to it, and an attack you'll probably never use. But honestly, the fact that it's a metal Pokemon, and I can accelerate energy to it using Metal Saucer, that's enough for me, ladies and gentlemen. I love this. Have I called it a 5 Wassy card yet? I kind of got into the flow of ranting then, I just completely forgot. I do think this is great. I do think this will be a top tier deck. And it's the ability, it's a lack of weakness, it's the pretty easy to pay attack, and it's not a particularly flashy attack, but 220 every single turn on a super difficult to KO Pokemon, yeah, that'll do, pig. That'll do. But I want to know what you think. Maybe I'm overrating this. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.